latte.
Summer break has just ended. It's August 13th, and there are 190 days left of school. Now all we have to do is navigate the ocean of assignments and work to get there. Our odyssey, the odyssey of self-learning and progress, has just begun. Sailing through the Mediterranean, we make our way to the land of the Cyclops, where we disembark to gather supplies. We wander to the cave of the Cyclops, Polyphemus, where he blocks engines using a giant stone slab. There's no way to force our way out. The slab is simply too heavy and the Cyclops too strong. But luckily, I've been in a situation just like this before. In the Zoo Banner project, I developed the learner profile goal of applying creativity and imagination to problem solving. That would be in my advantage. So I started off the project uncomplicatedly. I quickly gathered trustworthy resources, sped through the design phase, and made a solid prototype. Then the problem arrived. Restraints after restraints after restraints. My partner and I were baffled. How are we supposed to make a nice looking banner with all these limitations and guidelines? Although I did have to negotiate some points which I'm not all too happy about, I feel as if you're able to make a really good banner, tackling the problem with creativity and ingenuity. Despite resolving the issue, I still have one small regret, one thing that I feel as if that we could do better, and that's the layout of the banner. When we learned that we had to add more content, instead of reorganizing the banner to accommodate the new changes, we just kind of stacked text boxes on top of each other. With a little bit of creativity, I feel as if we could have created a layout that just doesn't match all the content to this one side. Regardless, we just devised a clever escape from the land of Cyclops and could set sail once more. But it wouldn't be smooth sailing. Poseidon, God of the sea, would show that. For tricking his son, he would cast his wrath upon us, swearing to never allow us to reach home again. After going from island to island, facing monsters separate from Poseidon and other beasts, we made our way to the island worlds. As advised by Circe, the goddess of magic, we made a sacrifice to the dead, summoning the spirit of the old prophet Tiresias, and several other famous men and women to advise us. Despite the entourage of spirits hoping to have their turn to talk with us and give us their advice, we were able to interpret and analyze all of it. That's because in the Indian Removal Act's congressional hearing, I worked towards the learner profile goal of collecting and analyzing data from the participants in order to apply new solutions. So in this project, we basically had to roleplay a congressional hearing that debated the topic of the Indian Removal Act. And to create a solid argument, you need to confront the issue from multiple angles. So we chose to collect information about geology and Native American history. So we analyzed Georgian and Floridian soil, climate, and agriculture, as well as researching Native American and American tensions at the time. By combining those informations from different sources, I feel as if we were able to create a good argument. So despite collecting copious amounts of information, I feel as if we didn't communicate as clearly or as fluently as I thought we could have. That I feel was a huge burden on our overall delivery and presentation. Well, with the knowledge and guidance that we required to get back home, we could set sail again. And with the advice from the old prophet Tiresias, we know the dangers that lie ahead and how to overcome them with ease. Now, we face the sirens. Harmless creatures, yes, but with voices so alluring they can cause any man to plunge his inevitable doom. We are advised by Tiresias to plug our ears with beeswax to null out their melodies. But despite the dangers, I chose to listen to their songs, having my men tie me to the mast to prevent me from jumping off the ship. This isn't the first time I accepted a risk to reach a goal. In the Pencil Box project, I developed the learner profile goal of embracing appropriate risks and opportunities to help solve novel problems. So in this project, we had to choose a teacher and build pencil box for them. Simple enough, right? Well, our teacher wanted our castle-themed pencil box. After that, we need to later cut out panels and fortifications, which would have taken a long time. Despite the approaching due date, we chose to accept the risk and take on the challenge of creating a pencil box. Even when we didn't cut to scale and our wood shift and we just had to restart, we kept on persevering and going through with it. So, despite being able to make a pretty nice pencil box, which I'm actually really proud of this. I wish I could have kept it. I feel as if we were unnecessarily wasteful while we were making it. If we just cut out a larger piece of wood than we originally needed, we could have avoided a lot of the problems that we ran into while making the pencil box, and it just would have been a lot more would have been less time consuming. Well, now that we have made the pencil box, we could finally, and embracing the risk of death, we could sail away from the land of the sirens, rejuvenated and renewed by their songs, ready to confront the next dangerous that await. However, the next few adventures wouldn't go as well as our last encounters. My crew would be completely decimated. My ship would get blown into pieces, and I would get stranded on some island in the middle of nowhere. Despite all the signs telling me that I was doomed to live out the rest of my life on this island, that I would never be able to make it back home, and kept on persevering. That's thanks to the Columbus roleplay, where I worked on the learner profile goal of maintaining a positive mindset and believing in the value of perseverance. Halfway through this project, I was utterly exhausted. I looked through multiple websites and sources and found absolutely nothing that piqued my favor. Either back us in Columbus or defend the Titans. I felt like I was stranded on an island, surrounded by nothing but useless sources. Although I could have just given up, called it a day, stopped researching, I kept digging and researching for facts, and eventually I found Columbus's ship logbooks and records, which allowed me to build a solid argument. Well, so, although we ended up being able to make a solid argument, it wasn't sunshine and rainbows all the way throughout the project. Throughout the research stage, I remember complaining endlessly to myself about how impossible it was and how we stood no chance against the other groups. Regardless, this project is a good demonstration of the value of perseverance and the effort that we put into it. Well, eventually the gods allowed us to escape the island. Our perseverance and positive attitude paid off. We finally be able to sail back home. However, Poseidon's wrath still hadn't been appeased. He yet again wrecked my makeshift boat. I washed ashore and found by young Nausicaa and her handmaids, and readily welcomed by King Alcinous and Queen Aurelia and Phoenicians. In their audience, I delivered them the story of my return from Troy, and in awe and amazement of it, he gave me gifts of riches and treasures, and prepared to send me home. How did I do this? Well, in the carbon infographic, I developed a learner profile goal of assessing and monitoring my own progress and understanding, and communicating the quality of my learning to others, formally and informally. That's what allowed me to deliver my story so well. So to create the infographic, we need to research multiple key terms and make connections between them ourselves, and write that down in the infographic, which we would then communicate our learning in the exhibition. So although it looks pretty nice and our information is organized, it was originally very unorganized and cluttered, but by adding headers and reorganizing it and just a lot of erasing, we managed to make it a lot more easier to read, which helped us to communicate our understanding in the exhibition. After we finished that, we actually had to grade it ourselves and grade the content, and that's us demonstrating self-assessing our own progress and understanding and knowing if we covered all the content that we needed to. So, all in all, I'd say this semester was pretty successful. I managed to stay on task a lot and put a lot of effort into a lot of things that we did, but it wasn't all smooth. I still have a lot of things that I need to work on. Some of the challenges that I approached were submitting things on time. I really had problems with this, especially in our humanities aspects and with the writing portions of it. But with all the lessons I learned from all these projects and assignments, I could finally sail back home. Staring at the shores of Phoenicia, wind flowing through my hair, I recalled my stories once more. Thank you.